I really do. Yes. Can we do like 10 minutes snow dippers and then go to wetlands? Snow dippers are really good, but I don't know how fly would do in the middle of the day. I just want to see like a little bit and then like it seems fun. Wetlands was the one that's going to go to the southwest for. Who is? Are they going to see that one? What's that? What song is that though? I know, but like describe it, sing it. I'm not gonna sing it for you. Like how much are you singing? I'll do it. Wait, TJ, I think I'm well, you sing it then. I don't know the song. TJ sing it so Maddie can sing it. Maddie, can I break this one? Yeah, do it. Do it, girl. Do it, girl. I have the shortest.
I wanted to start the discussion like I usually do by just asking about the piece you performed today and any preparations that went into it, any approach aspects to it that either took a lot of hard work or how you wanted to structure today's piece.
Yeah, well, the piece is called, it's part of like a longer solo practice that I have that has been titled in my mind 26 Rotations Around the Sun. And the title sort of comes from this Octavia Butler quote that when I was working on a lot of solo stuff really spoke to me, which is paraphrasing here, but there is nothing new under the sun, but there are new suns. So I really like that and kind of wanted to title it something reminiscent of that. They're not really quite compositions. They're more like devised improvisations that I kind of work in my, in my practice time alone. And when I was telling you this, when I make a lot of structures for them based off of like different textures I really like or sounds that are kind of speaking to me leading up to the show. But then all of that could really change, like getting there. Like I like to say it's very site specific. So like the rain sounds, for example, I didn't really plan on that. I just knew I wanted to use some field recordings that I have on my phone. And when it was raining outside, I was like, oh, that's really speaking to me. So I want rain sounds in the beginning. So yeah, it can be very fluid, and it kind of just, I feel like I'm always listening to things around me, and I like grabbing off of that.
Yeah, it's really cool having a practice that is like that degree of flexible, where you can work things into it. It's not like you have like 7 set patches that you have to hit through the set, but it's cool to be that open with it.
I have a background in classical music, so I like my practice to be as fluid as possible, and it's kind of more challenging in a way because you want it to sound really good, but you also don't want to be so prescriptive with it. So
totally. Yeah. I thought the use of delay as like not just an effect on the audio that is happening and a way of generating textures behind your playing, but also just as a compositional like concept or force to deal with was super interesting. I always think of it as, it's kind of an element of feedback in a way where it's not literally the signal feeding back and gaining out of control, but that it is, you're putting a sound source out there and it's coming back to you, and it's coming back to you a little bit different than when you sent it that direction, right?
Yeah.
And how you deal with that back and forth is super cool. Could you talk a little bit about how you developed those techniques and how that came about?
Well, I think that there were like 2 different types of kind of delay maybe that I was working with, but
something similar to delay.
Similar to delay. Like one of them is just singing the pitch like almost a millisecond before the violin plays it, and then looping that sound. And I think I discovered that just like playing at a show one day, and I was like, oh, sometimes I like hear things in the moment that I think will make sense, and then I'll listen back to the recording, and then I'll be like, oh, I really love that. Let's do that again.
And it keeps it's like we were saying before, like the delay then is just a behavior of the performance rather than like I'm hitting my delay pedal and it's doing the thing that I like that it does. Yeah, exactly.
And so I like actually for this particular set, I like loosely titled it like Systems of Memory, because I was thinking a lot about that particular sound that I like hit on, I don't know, like at another performance, and I really liked it. And for me, everything kind of has to mean something, in my little world. So I was like trying to ask myself like, oh, what does this sound really mean? Like, I don't know, philosophically to me, And then I was thinking a lot. I was having a conversation yesterday with a friend about memory and like whether the past exists or not. And I was thinking about that a lot. And I was like, oh, yeah, sometimes the present happens, and then what happens in that small, like, I don't even know if it's time or something, that small little space where the present then becomes perceived as a memory in your head, and I remember that happening, And so I think that's what kind of that delay sound meant for me. I was like, right, I'm feeding it into a looper, or I'm like, I'm manifesting the pitch,
organic acoustic delay.
Organic acoustic delay, and like I'm saying the pitch, then my violin falls, and I'm making it happen, but it's also like a memory of what occurred, So
yeah, there was a really cool iterative aspect of the piece to me, of like being able to articulate a phrase and then come back to that phrase, and then it obviously change it. There's like a very cool variation pattern that would happen that was really interestingly executed and cool to me. How do you think about that as a generative principle for yourself when you're improvising? Like
returning back to ideas?
Yeah, or kind of pronouncing out an idea and having it come to form as it's happening, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot about like tiny melodies or tiny motives. I feel like every time, like the way I came to improvisation was kind of through songs, you know, and like folk songs. And so I think about and then kind of combining that with, you know, like standard compositional forms of like, okay, there's a motive and then it gets developed and then it goes somewhere else and births a new motive or something like things. So I like the idea of coming back to things because it for myself it like provides a grounding mechanism, but it's also kind of like related to memory or delay. It's like something that is like that's the origin of all this, you know, and so it's I like using that to kind of structure the improvisations, not just for myself, but for everyone in the room. I hope it comes across that way too. But it's like almost like an organizing mechanism for me.
Totally. I've been fascinated by that idea a lot lately, of especially, you know, in making music that isn't necessarily connected to a genre or a tonal reference or a rhythmic reference, and how you actually can create a form that is recognizable as like, oh, that's a thing. That's a clear idea that you played through your instrument, and how that comes to be its own, you know, pattern recognition system or whatever for the listener and both for yourself.
I know. I feel like structure is fascinating because like we create structure, but then there's like so much structure around us. So like recurrence is just one of those things that, again, it's like organic. So I feel like it's only natural for it to happen. And I try not to force anything. I feel like that's the thing I don't like I dislike the most.
Totally. There was another aspect of the performance that was super cool and interesting to me about dealing more with the harmonic side of things and the pitch organization, where there would be periods of time where both the textures and the loops and you're playing stuck to a very consonant texture, but then you would have like very strong note choices that really poke out against that. Yeah. And like, I just wanted to ask how you approach pitch and organize it. Do you think of it harmonically? Do you think of it texturally? How do you deal with that?
I wish I could say I thought about it more harmonically.
Sure. Right.
But which is something I'm working on. But no, I think for me it's like it's more of a textural thing, but it's also just kind of what I'm hearing. I think like I feel like listening to a lot of music and sort of trying to copy what other people are doing, and that kind of leads to its own I don't know, it becomes its own process of listening to someone else's voice and then trying to create that and mesh it into my own voice. And then I think when I'm performing, like it's not something I don't want to think too much about it. I don't want to think too much of like, oh, now I'm going to do this and it's going to go here. It's more of just like, oh, I'm playing this, and then what am I hearing over that? And sometimes it's something that, you know, I was working on or listening to like 2 days ago, and then it came out, and then
hell yeah,
I want to do it again. But yeah, it's kind of organic and natural.
For sure. Love that. How long have you been working with this practice? You described it as one continuous kind of approach or idea to solo playing. And also, how has it changed as you've done it more and more? Actually,
I think I came to solo playing like almost 2 years ago here in Chicago, because it seemed like everyone else around me, and I had a lot of conversations with people who were just thinking a lot about solo playing, and I was like, okay, well, I want to try solo playing too. And I think it was also, for me, it was like there's something really beautiful about it, because I'd been so used to, up to that point, working in ensembles or groups, and I had never really, it was a way, I think, for me to kind of trust my own ideas and trust my own voice. And it's like, you're so vulnerable. It's just you up there. So
there's a lot of problem
there's
solving
a lot
that
of
has
problems.
to go into
Yeah. There's a lot of problems to solve in a very short amount of time. So
Totally.
actually the first opportunity I think I had to play solo was here at ESS for like this Quinstitute voice thing that I took part of, and it was very, very fun. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take this out for a ride, and I had gotten a couple pedals, and I picked up the 5-string, and that was like the first time I was like working with an idea of like playing solo, but I wanted to also bring in the audience. So it was sort of this like improvised song form, but at one point, like I wanted to invite people to just answer a question and say things, and then what they would say became like the lyrics for a song I would improvise. And it was really lovely, and I had a great time. And so I think from that point, it was just kind of building on different ideas and patching them all together. And then, I don't know how any of this stuff comes up as like, you hit on an idea, and then you want to develop it more, and then you listen to something, and then you talk with someone else, and they give you an idea about how to develop it. And so it's kind of been a process shaped by the community here. Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like solo playing, it's the big terrifying thing that everyone is afraid of. But it also, I think when you lean into the chaos and the different things that can go wrong or things that can happen, and like inviting that indeterminacy into solo playing, I think is like what makes it live and like really successful, even if you don't know if it's going to be a success when you are setting out to do it, right?
Yeah, totally.
Like, I think that's super cool that that's how you approach it and organize it. I wanted to ask a little bit about your background doing, being a violin major and being in a very conservatory string program, and breaking out of that into fringier musics and experimental music and improvisation.
Yeah.
And what was that journey like for you?
Ooh,
Big question.
it is a big question. Well, I went to a conservatory during.
Full disclosure, we went to the same music conservatory
music conservatory.
a decade apart from each other,
Yes.
almost. So.
Yes, New England Conservatory of Music, and I went during the pandemic years. So I think that alone probably had a huge part to play in kind of leading me to all of this, because I should start out by saying I wanted to go to NEC when I was applying at schools, because I was studying jazz voice and violin when I was in high school. And I wanted to, I got really, really into like Dada and Fluxus and like Jack Kerouac and like the Beat Generation. And so I knew I wanted to go somewhere where I could explore all of that. And, NEC had the contemporary improvisation program at the time. And I was like, okay, I want to go there. And they have a great, great classical violin department, string department, so it was a perfect fit. And so when I got there, the first thing I did was I don't really know what prompted me to do this, but I went there and I was like, I'm going to start a poetry club, and we're going to improvise poems, and we're going to improvise music. And like that's how I met all my friends, and just forcing people to join the club, like. And
NEC's a really unique place in that
Yes.
it is this very highly structured historical music conservatory, but there's also a lot of chaos and a lot of freedom that comes from that chaos that really allows people to pursue what they want.
Definitely,
to pursue
I always
artistically,
kind of
which
felt
is
like
cool.
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And I had the right setup for that. I mean, my violin teacher was really, really phenomenal in that he let me. I would be very vocal about what I wanted to explore, and to his sometimes maybe frustration, I don't know, but he would be really willing to let me do whatever I wanted to, and I think COVID facilitated that, because it was just such a crazy time. So the students were really just doing whatever they wanted to, and the administration was, not as, they just allowed everyone to kind of explore what they wanted to,
Right.
do what you want, do what's needed, this for during this difficult time. So yeah, I took a lot of classes in the jazz and CMA, or the contemporary improvisation program, and that was great. But to be honest, most of it was just through my friends. Like I just bugging them to teach me, and then bugging them to let me play with them, going to all of their shows.
That's how scenes are born and developed.
And, putting on shows, and I just learned by sort of doing it and throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what stuck. And
Love that. Coming to Chicago and being here for a few years and having, at least a part of your crew and your scene here, and being able to both sort of transplant things that you're familiar with and people that you're really familiar with playing into a completely new place that you may or may not have been super intimately familiar with before moving here. How has that process been for you the last few years?
Phenomenal. I feel like the luckiest person in the whole world. It's just sincerely. I mean, I think I knew going into music that it would never be easy, and it's very difficult to be an artist and to make music that you want to make and really stick with that. But I think, and it can be very messy, but I think what that also means is that you learn how to find your people really quickly.
Yeah. And
when you've hit it on a good thing. And that's definitely what I have here in Chicago.
That rocks.
And I feel like the luckiest person in the world, because it's we all live near each other, and we all play with each other and support each other and run ideas by each other. And I mean, I don't know if I could have dreamt up anything better than that. So it's been phenomenal and
incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing. Before we're out of time, I wanted to open it up to any questions from the audience for Caroline. If anyone would like to ask anything, I'll repeat it into the microphone for the sake of the archive and the recording. But just raise your hand or don't. All right. Well, I guess that's our time for today. But thank you so much, Caroline, for performing and talking with me.
Andrew, yeah.
Big round of applause.